Welcome to the Memory Scope channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. In the heart of Mogadishu during 1993, an Italian soldier extends compassion through a simple act offering food to a local orphan amid the chaos of conflict, capturing humanity's gentle side, even in war's darkest moments. 3 women stride confidently through Kabul's bustling streets in 1972, their modern attire reflecting Afghanistan's progressive era, before decades of conflict would transform the nation and dramatically alter women's freedoms forever. Grozny becomes a living nightmare in May 1995 as an elderly woman clutches only her husband's portrait and rugs given 5 brutal minutes by Russian soldiers to abandon her home before its destruction. Her family already lost to war's merciless grip. England's Great Depression forces desperate measures in the 1930s when this determined man transforms himself into a walking advertisement, wearing his entire curriculum vitae as he searches the streets for any employment opportunity available. Marseille witnesses a touching encounter on September 30th, 1914, as a curious French boy introduces himself to Indian soldiers freshly arrived in France, ready to fight alongside French and British forces in the Great War's unfolding tragedy. November 1989 brings an unforgettable moment as West German school children pause their day to converse with 2 East German border guards through an opening in the crumbling Berlin Wall during communism's dramatic collapse across Eastern Europe. The 2 reporters who fearlessly exposed the Watergate scandal sit watching President Nixon resign in 1974, their investigative journalism fundamentally changing American politics and proving the press's vital role in holding power accountable to truth. French soldiers march past an unusual sight in 1915, a dog outfitted with goggles and casually smoking a pipe, offering a brief moment of levity amid the Western Front's relentless horror during World War I's darkest days. Rock legend David Bowie poses for his arrest photograph in Rochester during 1976 after being detained for marijuana possession, his iconic style and charisma shining through even in this unexpected and rather unflattering circumstance. Tehran erupts in 1978 as French-Iranian photographer Abbas captures this powerful moment. A rioter clutches his dead friend's shoes after military gunfire. Silence the crowd while a soldier desperately insists his unit wasn't responsible for the killing. Convicted murderers Richard Hickok and Perry Smith laugh callously after hearing their death sentences, having brutally killed an entire family of 4 during a botched robbery that yielded only $50, shocking America with their senseless cruelty. 19-year-old East German border guard Hans Conrad Schumann makes a life-changing decision in 1961, leaping over barbed wire into West Berlin's freedom, while crowds cheer, creating an iconic symbol of liberation that haunted him until suicide in 1998. Just moments after this photograph was captured, Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi would be assassinated by the young woman wearing orange flowers in the bottom left corner who concealed a devastating suicide vest beneath her clothing. A seemingly ordinary family photograph taken in Sweden during 1971 holds an extraordinary secret. The man in the brown shirt second from left is none other than Osama bin Laden before he became the world's most wanted terrorist. Monson Motor Lodge manager Jimmy Brock pours muriatic acid into his pool to terrorize black protesters during their swim-in demonstration captured by Horace Court's camera just 7 days after Martin Luther King Jr.'s trespassing arrest at this same motel. Tadeusz Zytkiewicz became Poland's first heart transplant recipient after Dr. Zbigniew Religa's grueling 23-hour surgery, while his exhausted colleague sleeps in the corner, creating National Geographic's Best Picture of 1987 through James Stanfield's lens. Paris witnesses history in 1884 as the Statue of Liberty takes shape during construction, the massive monument being assembled piece by piece before its eventual journey across the Atlantic Ocean to become America's enduring symbol of freedom and hope. American soldiers prepare Easter eggs for Hitler somewhere between 1944 and 1945. Their humorous defiance and creative morale boosting painted onto artillery shells destined for Nazi targets, proving that warrior spirit endures even through war's darkest hours. Times Square pulses with luminous energy. In 1947, its dazzling neon signs and towering billboards advertising everything from Coca-Cola to theaters capturing post-war America's optimistic spirit and New York City's transformation into the entertainment capital of the world. Breaking gender barriers during World War I in 1918, these determined women deliver massive blocks of ice through city streets, taking over traditionally male jobs, while men fought overseas, proving women's strength and capability during America's wartime transformation. Newspaper boy Ned Parfit sells evening papers on London streets bearing the shocking news of Titanic sinking just the night before on April 16, 1912, as crowds gathered to learn details of history's most infamous maritime disaster. President Lincoln meets General McClellan near Antietam, Maryland around September 1862 in this historic portrait that would later be used to design the penny, capturing the wartime president's weathered face during America's bloodiest conflict's darkest days. Fort Belvoir, Virginia, becomes a training ground in 1942 as Sergeant George Cambler practices with his gas mask inside a thick smoke screen, preparing American soldiers for potential chemical warfare threats during World War II's uncertain and dangerous progression. Port Washington, New York transforms into a propaganda factory on July 8, 1942, where artists carefully paint bold World War II posters designed to inspire American patriotism, boost morale, and encourage citizens to support the massive war effort overseas. Jazz legend Louis Armstrong practices his trumpet alone in his dressing room around 1946, preparing for another electrifying performance that would help define American music and cement his legacy as one of history's most influential and beloved musicians. Construction crews work high above San Francisco Bay around 1935, building the Golden Gate Bridge's iconic towers and cables, creating what would become America's most recognizable suspension bridge and an enduring symbol of engineering excellence and human ambition. Platt Brothers captured this daring moment in 1884 as a cyclist rides his penny farthing bicycle down the Capitol building's steep stairs, demonstrating both the rider's remarkable balance skills and the era's adventurous spirit before modern safety regulations existed. Carlton Watkins photographed the Mother of the Forest in Calaveras Grove, California, around 1865, documenting this magnificent giant sequoia tree that stood as a testament to nature's grandeur before logging would devastate California's ancient forests forever. Los Angeles witnesses innovation on January 12, 1950, as engineer Ted Spence of Los Angeles Brush Manufacturing Corp. demonstrates the new hairline brush designed specifically for bald men with bristles for remaining hair and a gentle felt massage pad. The Windsor Swastikas, a Canadian ice hockey team from Windsor, Nova Scotia, posed proudly in 1912, having chosen their name when the swastika symbol still represented luck and success. Decades before, Nazi Germany would forever corrupt its meaning. Venice Beach, Los Angeles captures California's laid-back counterculture spirit during the 1970s as beachgoers, artists, and the free spirits create an alternative lifestyle along the Pacific coastline that would define an entire generation's rebellion against convention and conformity. Copenhagen, Denmark transforms into a chaotic shopping scene in 1936 as eager customers mob a dramatic coat sale, their desperate scramble for bargains, reflecting the economic anxieties of the Depression era sweeping across Europe and beyond. During the brutal Battle of Bunagona in 1942, Papua New Guinean native Raphael Oimbari, known as a Fuzzy Wuzzy Angel, helps wounded Australian soldier Private George Dick Whittington reach an aid station captured by photographer George Silk's powerful lens. Fred Lyon captured San Francisco's atmospheric Kearny Street in 1952, where vintage automobiles line the fog-shrouded pavement. Beneath glowing streetlights, preserving a moody snapshot of post-war urban America during the city's transformation into a modern metropolis. A male model confidently showcases silk jersey print pajama leisure suit, with sandals and necklace at a New York fashion show in 1968 titled Clothing for the Emancipated Man, reflecting the era's bold experimentation with masculine style and gender norms. Norwegian-American Hans Langseth sits regally in an ornate chair at age 66 in 1912, his extraordinary beard draped over his shoulder down to his hand, photographed by Niels C. Jorgensen before it reached 17.5 feet at his death. A Hanoi hospital provides medical treatment to US Navy Lieutenant Commander John McCain in 1967 after North Vietnamese forces shot down his A-4E Skyhawk aircraft, beginning his brutal 5-year imprisonment as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. Florida introduces an unusual quality control method in 1940 with the human sunshine tester, where a person's skin reaction helps measure sunlight intensity, reflecting the era's creative yet unscientific approaches to understanding ultraviolet radiation's effects before modern technology. Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels' expression transforms dramatically the precise moment he discovers his photographer is Jewish. This powerful 1933 photograph, capturing the raw hatred and anti-Semitism that would soon consume Germany and trigger the Holocaust's unimaginable horrors. Flight Lieutenant H.J.F. Yonkis receives a haircut in Tunisia's desert during April 1943. This colorized photograph capturing a brief moment of normalcy for Allied forces fighting across North Africa's harsh terrain during World War II's challenging Mediterranean campaign. Saipan 1944 bears witness to compassion as a U.S. soldier extends his hand to help a woman and her child emerge from a cave where they hid during fierce fighting between Japanese and American forces, offering humanity amid Pacific War's brutality. A prisoner of war finally returns home to Vienna, passing a desperate woman searching for her son, whose photograph she clutches tightly. Both figures representing millions of families torn apart by World War II's devastation across Europe's shattered landscape. Soviet soldiers crouch beneath a moving tank during ironing training before the Battle of Kursk, learning to build strong trenches and overcome their fear of being crushed by German tanks using deadly milling tactics that would wiggle over foxholes. A Manchester pathway displays a stark reminder painted on September 5, 1939, urging everyone to carry their gas mask at all times as Britain enters World War II, reflecting the very real fear of chemical warfare attacks on civilian populations. Bodybuilding legend Reg Park relaxes poolside during the 1950s, his sculpted physique representing the golden age of physical culture that would inspire future champions, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, who credited Park as his greatest role model and hero. A punk rocker mourns outside Buckingham Palace in 1997, following Princess Diana's tragic death. This powerful image capturing how Britain's beloved people's princess transcended social boundaries and touched hearts across every class and subculture in the nation. Young actor Christian Bale relaxes in his Bournemouth, Dorset bedroom in 1987 years before becoming Batman and one of Hollywood's most respected performers. This intimate photograph capturing the teenager before fame would transform his entire life forever. New York's World Trade Center rises toward the sky in 1972, construction crews building what would become iconic Twin Towers, symbolizing American economic power. Before September 11, 2001, would forever change their meaning and the nation's history. Joe Arady, a 23-year-old man with an IQ of 46, gives his beloved toy train to another inmate before his 1939 execution in Colorado wrongfully. Convicted, despite having a 6-year-old's mind smiling and not understanding death awaited him. A young boy stands near an outdoor urinal installed on Avenue du Maine in Paris around 1865, one of the pissoirs that would eventually number over 1,200 by the 1930s, before gradually disappearing from the city streets over subsequent decades. A massive pile of American bison skulls waits to be ground into fertilizer around 1892. This haunting photograph documenting the near extinction of millions of buffalo that once roamed the Great Plains before systematic slaughter devastated their population forever. Women competing in New Jersey's Beautiful Leg Contest at Palisades Amusement Park in 1951 wear pillowcases over their heads, ensuring judges focus solely on their legs without distraction from faces or other features reflecting mid-century beauty standards and strange pageant customs. Tim Allen's 1978 mugshot captures him after Kalamazoo/Battle Creek International Airport arrest for possessing over 650 grams of cocaine before he provided dealers' names for reduced sentencing, serving only 28 months before eventual Hollywood stardom. A worker carefully repaints the Custom House Tower's massive clock face high above Boston in 1976, suspended precariously against the structure while maintaining this historic timepiece that has guided the city for decades from its prominent downtown perch. Chadwick Boseman, who lived from 1976 to 2020, left an indelible mark on cinema through his powerful portrayals of black heroes, including Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and King T'Challa, in Black Panther, inspiring millions before cancer tragically cut short his brilliant career. A Chinese Buddhist monk demonstrates remarkable balance and fearlessness in the 1930s, carefully walking across a chain bridge at Jiangyu Figure Hill Temple in China. His spiritual practice requiring both physical courage and complete mental focus to cross safely. Director James Cameron discusses the groundbreaking script with Arnold Schwarzenegger on the set of The Terminator in 1984, creating a science fiction masterpiece that would launch both men's legendary careers and revolutionize action cinema for generations to come. Fred Stein captured this charming moment in 1947 New York as a little girl proudly sits in her pedal car, representing post-war America's growing prosperity and the emergence of child-centered consumer culture that would define the coming baby boom generation. New York Central Railroad employees celebrate in victory way before Grand Central Terminal after World War I, displaying a towering pyramid constructed from over 12,000 recovered German pickelhaubes. Helmets shipped from defeated Germany's warehouses as war trophies. 5-year-old Harold Whittle's experiences sound for the very first time when he receives a hearing aid. His expression of pure wonder and amazement captured in this unforgettable photograph as an entirely new sensory world suddenly opens before him. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years imprisoned for fighting apartheid and white domination in South Africa, eventually emerging to lead his nation toward democracy and reconciliation, embodying the ideal of harmony and equal opportunities he once declared worth dying for. Dick Van Dyke, Walt Disney and Julie Andrews gather at the premiere of Mary Poppins, celebrating their collaboration on the magical film that would become one of Disney's most beloved classics and enchant audiences across generations with its timeless songs and charm. A horse carries trench boots across the Somme front in this colorized photograph, serving as one of millions of animals used during World War I's brutal campaigns when horses transported essential supplies through mud artillery fire and unimaginable battlefield conditions. Policemen arrest a demonstrator as local people successfully block the British Union of Fascists' march through Cable Street in London's East End on October 4, 1936, a pivotal moment when working-class neighborhoods united against rising fascism threatening Britain's democracy. A mother and daughter share a playful moment goofing around for the camera. In the early 1900s, their genuine joy and affection captured forever, reminding us that love, laughter, and family bonds transcend time, despite how dramatically society has transformed since. Edward Adrian Wilson photographed men carrying bricks of tea through Tibet around 1908, documenting the arduous trade routes where porters transported valuable commodities across the Himalayas' treacherous mountain passes before modern transportation would eventually replace these dangerous human supply chains. Ralph Crane captured these adventurous joyriders taking a thrilling boat ride down a logging chute in 1961, their wild recreational use of industrial equipment reflecting mid-century America's carefree spirit before modern liability concerns and safety regulations would prohibit such daring stunts. Walter B. Lane photographed illuminated office windows in Washington, at D.C.'s Lafayette Building in 1946, creating a striking geometric pattern of light against darkness, symbolizing post-war America's economic energy and the long working hours fueling the nation's growing prosperity. Anchormen posed beside the massive anchor of the RMS Mauritania around 1906, dwarfed by the enormous maritime equipment required to control this luxurious ocean liner, one of the fastest and most prestigious ships during the golden age of transatlantic passenger travel. Anne Frank holds a jumping rope while standing next to her friend Sanna Lederman on an Amsterdam sidewalk at Merwede Plain in 1935. Both girls enjoying innocent childhood play, years before Nazi occupation would tear them from their families and send them to concentration camps. Terry O'Neill photographed Chess Paul Newman and Clint Eastwood relaxing outside a Tucson, Arizona motel in 1972, capturing two of Hollywood's biggest legends during a rare moment together, their iconic star power and masculine charisma defining American cinema for decades. British India during the 1930s reveals the colonial era's stark social divisions and cultural complexity. This photograph, preserving a moment from the Raj period before independence movements, would eventually liberate the subcontinent and fundamentally reshape the entire region's political future. Jacob Riis photographed Bandit's Roost at 59.5 Mulberry Street in 1888, documenting New York City's most notorious slum alley, where gangs controlled the streets, his pioneering social documentary work exposing the desperate poverty hidden in America's rapidly growing urban centers. Princess Diana appears contemplative just 1 week before her tragic death on August 24, 1997. This final photograph capturing the beloved royal during her last days before the Paris car crash that shocked the world and triggered unprecedented global mourning. American Marines on Iwo Jima erupt with joy and relief in March 1945 upon hearing that Japanese forces had surrendered their emotional celebration, marking the end of one of World War II's bloodiest Pacific battles that claimed thousands of lives. A man cuts a crying child's hair with garden shears somewhere in the United Kingdom around 1920. This unsettling image revealing the era's harsh child-rearing practices and limited resources when professional barber services remained luxury items for working class families struggling financially. An American soldier returns home from the Great War around 1918 or 1919. His uniform and expression telling stories of unimaginable horrors witnessed in European trenches, joining millions of veterans forever changed by World War I's unprecedented industrial-scale violence and destruction. Newly freed prisoners of war celebrate with pure elation as their C-141A aircraft lifts off from Hanoi, North Vietnam on February 12, 1973, during Operation Homecoming, bringing 591 POWs home through 54 flights after years of brutal captivity. Karting enthusiasts race their small vehicles during the early 1980s. This photograph capturing the Grassroots motorsport's growing popularity as affordable racing allowed ordinary people to experience competitive driving thrills previously reserved only for wealthy professional drivers with expensive equipment. A Finnish soldier pauses from wartime duties in 1941 to help local farmers harvest wheat, demonstrating how military personnel assisted civilians with essential agricultural work, ensuring food production continued despite Finland's desperate struggle during World War II's devastating Eastern Front campaigns. Young Franklin Delano Roosevelt Jr. looks remarkably handsome at age 23 in this 1937 photograph. The president's son embodying the attractive confidence and charisma that ran through the Roosevelt family years before entering politics and naval service during World War II. Albert Monnier captured a magical winter night in Paris during 1953 snow, blanketing the city's elegant streets beneath glowing streetlights, creating an atmospheric scene that perfectly embodies the French capital's timeless romantic beauty during the post-war era's quiet transformation. Grace Jones and Dolph Lundgren attend the opening of Video Club Private Eyes in New York. During 1984, the striking couple representing that decade's bold fashion music and entertainment scene when MTV culture dominated and celebrity nightlife reached extravagant new heights. Times Square blazes with electric lights during the early 1900s as New York City transforms into a modern metropolis. Thousands of bulbs illuminating advertisements and theaters creating the dazzling entertainment district that would become America's most famous intersection and tourist destination. Franklin Price Knott photographed a woman dressed as a Chinese goddess, posing in a California garden in 1915, reflecting the era's fascination with Orientalism and exotic cultural appropriation that would later be recognized as problematic representation of Asian cultures and peoples. Australian soldiers catch up on news from home after their release from brutal Japanese captivity in Singapore during September 1945, finally reading letters and newspapers after years of imprisonment, torture, and starvation that tested human endurance beyond imagination's limits. Theodore Roosevelt's diary from 1884 contains only a stark X and the words, "The light has gone out of my life," marking the devastating day his wife Alice and mother Martha died within hours in their New York home tragedy that shaped his character forever. French inventor J. Lehaitre of Paris demonstrates his innovative Caterpillar track motorcycle design in 1938, attempting to combine motorcycle mobility with tank-like traction across difficult terrain, representing interwar Europe's experimental period of transportation technology before World War II's outbreak. Al Ravenna photographed Dr. Seuss at work, sketching illustrations for How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 1956, capturing the beloved author and illustrator, creating the timeless holiday classic that would teach generations of children about Christmas's true meaning beyond material gifts. A caravan of Romanian gypsies travels through Romania. In 1938, their traditional lifestyle, captured just before World War II, would devastate Roma communities across Europe, with hundreds of thousands murdered during the Romani Holocaust that remains lesser known than other Nazi atrocities. Peter Menzel photographed Woodstock participants joyfully sliding down a muddy hill in 1969, their uninhibited fun epitomizing the legendary music festival's spirit of peace, love, and freedom that defined the counterculture movement and became an enduring symbol of the era. Apple launched its clothing and accessories line called the Apple Collection in 1986, attempting to extend the brand beyond computers into lifestyle products with colorful apparel and items foreshadowing the company's eventual mastery of design-driven consumer goods decades later. Russian soldiers enjoy a masquerade party in Thessaloniki, Greece around 1916 during World War I, their theatrical costumes and makeup providing brief escape from the Eastern Front's brutal reality, proving that even amid war's horrors, soldiers sought moments of normalcy and joy. A young African man displays facial scars around 1900 markings that likely indicated tribal affiliation status or passage through important cultural ceremonies, preserving traditions that colonial influences and modernization would gradually diminish or eliminate across the continent over subsequent decades. A lineman works carefully on power and telephone lines at a busy intersection in Pratt, Kansas during 1911, risking his safety high above the ground to maintain the electrical and communication infrastructure connecting America's small towns during the nation's rapid technological expansion. London, I endures wartime hardships in 1939 as a sign declares no dog biscuits today, reflecting how shortages affected even pets during World War II when rationing forced civilians to sacrifice comforts as Britain mobilized every resource toward defeating Nazi Germany's aggression. Tooth extraction takes place inside a liquor store in 1872. An assistant holding the patient's head steady with a towel, while the dentist uses pliers to remove the painful tooth, demonstrating how dental care remained primitive, brutal, and completely unregulated before modern professional standards. A hippie father walks hand in hand with his young daughter through Amsterdam in 1968, his long hair and unconventional style representing the counterculture movement's rejection of traditional values while still embracing timeless parental love and the universal bond between father and child. Ukraine faces invasion on February 24, 2022, as Russian military forces launch a full-scale attack that shocks the world, beginning a devastating conflict that would displace millions, destroy cities, and test international resolve to defend democracy against authoritarian aggression. Migrants in North Carolina during July 1940 represent the Great Depression's lasting impact as displaced agricultural workers continue seeking survival and dignity, captured through documentary photography that revealed America's persistent poverty amid the nation's slow economic recovery before World War II. Germany's 1972 Summer Olympic Games witnessed the throw of the century when Wilfried Dietrich, weighing about 118 kilograms, managed to pull the massive 200-kilogram Chris Taylor from the ground and threw him through himself onto the wrestling carpet. French ladies during the 1900s wore extraordinarily elaborate hats adorned with feathers, flowers, ribbons, and even taxidermied birds, creating towering headpieces that demonstrated wealth and fashion consciousness while requiring careful balance and strong neck muscles to wear throughout entire social occasions. This 1913 article attempted to imagine what babies would look like in the year 2012, featuring bizarre illustrations of futuristic infants with exaggerated features, demonstrating how wildly inaccurate predictions about human evolution and scientific progress often become when speculation replaces genuine understanding. Sears revolutionized American home ownership during the 1910s by offering mail-order houses where customers selected their preferred design, then received all materials by railroad, assembling their entire home using provided instructions, making quality housing affordable for countless working-class families nationwide. Bikini Atoll nuclear test in 1946 created one of history's most frightening and fascinating photographs, the mushroom cloud rising from Pacific waters as America demonstrated atomic weapons' devastating power, marking the beginning of the nuclear age that would define Cold War tensions for decades. The lunar roving vehicle's fender gets an improvised repair using 4 maps and a clamp during the Apollo 17 mission on December 12, 1972, demonstrating astronauts' remarkable problem-solving abilities when sophisticated equipment failed in the moon's harsh and unforgiving environment. A Bailey electric car powered by an Edison storage battery gets photographed during its impressive 1,000-mile endurance run in 1910, proving electric vehicles' viability decades before gasoline engines would dominate transportation, ironically predicting our current return to electric automobile technology. The evolution of mobile phones progresses dramatically between 1990 and 2000, shrinking from bulky brick-sized devices to sleek compact handsets. This photograph documenting the rapid technological advancement that would eventually put powerful computers into billions of people's pockets worldwide. Finnish personnel carefully disarm a floating sea mine from a small wooden rowboat in the Gulf of Finland near Haapasaari during autumn 1944, demonstrating extraordinary courage while handling explosives capable of destroying their fragile vessel, documented by Seikuva photography. Watertown Daily Times reporters Michael J. Green and Larry Cole examine a towering snowbank on County Route 61 near Tylerville during the legendary blizzard of '77, when Watertown and areas near Lake Ontario disappeared under 60 to 120 inches of snow. Space Shuttle Challenger's crew leaves their quarters heading toward the launch pad on January 27, 1986, captured 40 years ago today, just one day before the catastrophic explosion that killed all 7 astronauts and devastated America's space program, shocking the entire watching nation. Playground equipment looked vastly different during the 1970s when manufacturers built slides much taller and steeper without modern safety standards, allowing children to experience thrilling but genuinely dangerous play that today's liability-conscious society would never permit on any public playground. A delighted man receives the iconic Farrah Fawcett red swimsuit poster as a gift. In 1977, the image becoming that decade's best-selling poster with over 12 million copies sold, making the Charlie's Angels star an international sex symbol and cultural phenomenon. The Soviet Union developed the KM Caspian Sea Monster ekranoplan during the 1960s. This massive experimental ground effect vehicle flying just above water surfaces using aerodynamic lift, representing Cold War military innovation that pushed engineering boundaries despite never entering actual production service. Princess Diana drives her custom Ford Escort RS Turbo in 1985. The sporty black vehicle with silver wheels reflecting the young royal's personality before security concerns would eventually force her into armored cars, giving up the small personal freedom she cherished dearly. Rome's National Gallery of Modern Art Houses, Gaetano Cellini's stunning marble masterpiece, Humanity Against Evil, created in 1906, the dramatic sculpture capturing the eternal struggle between good and evil through classical technique that demonstrates exceptional artistic skill and emotional depth. Albert Einstein opposes moments before his famous photograph with tongue out on March 14, 1951, leaving his 72nd birthday party at Princeton University. The legendary physicist about to create his most iconic and playful image that would humanize genius for future generations. A reporter uses an early mobile phone in Kensington, London during 1983, the bulky device resembling a briefcase more than a telephone, representing the beginning of wireless communication revolution that would eventually shrink into pocket-sized smartphones, transforming how humanity connects globally. Sears operated Santa School during the 1960s, teaching men to become professional department store Santas, training them in ho-ho-ho delivery, child interaction, and maintaining Christmas magic, ensuring consistent quality across thousands of stores where millions of children visited annually. Judy Garland poses with her young daughter Liza Minnelli in 1947, both destined for entertainment greatness. Though Judy's struggles with addiction and mental health would cast shadows over their relationship before Liza emerged as a legendary performer in her own remarkable right. A woman makes deliveries for her husband's ice business in New Jersey during the 1930s, carrying heavy blocks essential for keeping food cool before home. Refrigeration became standard, demonstrating women's vital contributions to family businesses during the Depression, when survival required everyone's labor. A father sets aside his newspaper to listen attentively as his daughter, dressed neatly in hat and gloves, talks with him before Sunday Mass in Boston during 1952, capturing a quiet moment of parental devotion during an era when family rituals and religious observance structured American life. A worried agricultural day laborer mother holds her sick daughter on a bare mattress in Tallahassee, Oklahoma. During 1939, poverty preventing medical care, leaving her only able to offer comfort. This heartbreaking image documenting the Great Depression's devastating impact on America's poorest families. Daredevil Jamie Reynolds poses fearlessly in 1917, representing the early 20th century's fascination with death-defying stunts and performers who risked their lives entertaining audiences before cinema and television would eventually replace live dangerous acts with safer filmed entertainment spectacles. A father shows off his impressive balancing skills in Melbourne, Australia during 1940, standing on one leg while supporting his young child overhead, demonstrating both physical strength and playful parenting during World War II, when families cherished joyful moments amid global uncertainty. Sioux chiefs pose with dignity and traditional regalia. In 1905, they're photographed preserving indigenous leadership during a devastating period when American government policies systematically destroyed native cultures, confined tribes to reservations, and attempted to erase centuries of tradition and sovereignty. Charlie Chaplin reaches into his pocket for change to buy flowers from a street florist in 1931. The beloved silent film star, captured during a quiet personal moment, his enormous fame not preventing simple everyday interactions with ordinary people on city streets. The elevator appears at the Eiffel Tower's first level during the monument's construction, this photograph documenting the engineering marvel rising above Paris, showcasing the innovative technologies and construction techniques required to build what would become France's most iconic and recognizable landmark worldwide. An Arctic explorer and his wife, a fashion illustrator, posed together in 1947, their partnership representing how adventurous spirits and creative minds united during the post-war era, when the world felt newly accessible and couples pursued both traditional marriage and unconventional careers simultaneously. A young woman declares herself a true girl of the West in Del Rio, Texas, during 1906, her confident pose and Western attire embodying frontier independence and the American cowgirl spirit that rejected Eastern Victorian conventions and embraced rugged outdoor life on the expanding frontier. Davide Cislaghi tests his experimental single-wheel engine motorcycle in 1933, the unusual vehicle representing interwar Europe's fascination with alternative transportation designs, though practical limitations would ensure this bizarre contraption never progressed beyond novelty status into actual widespread commercial production or use. A lucky British soldier displays his damaged helmet in 1917, the dented metal showing where a bullet or shrapnel struck without penetrating completely, saving his life during World War I's Western Front, where fate and inches determined who survived the industrial slaughter's random. Violence? Roland, a 4,000-pound elephant seal, receives a refreshing snow bath from his handler at Berlin Zoo during the 1930s, the massive marine mammal enjoying the cold treatment that helps regulate his temperature, providing entertainment for visitors fascinated by exotic wildlife from distant oceans.